Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brian Reed, branch manager with Neighborhood Loans here in Chandler, Arizona, and I am here with a special guest today, Larissa Powell from Your Home Sold, Guaranteed, and we are here today to talk about affordability versus renting. So, Larissa, give us your take on what you're seeing out there in the field, what's happening when you're talking to customers. What's the overall consensus in the field, and how are you addressing those concerns when people are saying it's too costly to buy and they would rather rent? Tell me a little bit about your input on what you walk through with these customers.
That is an excellent question, and I'm so glad you asked that. We've been doing this for a long time, and I think it was maybe 5 years ago. My husband and I were out with a client, and he says, well, I think I'm just going to wait because the housing prices are going to come down. And he was looking at buying a house that was just a little over $200,000. And every year he'd come back and he wanted to buy a house, but he was always like, I don't think I'm going to buy that one. And he did it again and again. Now, that same house that he was looking at buying is now worth about $475,000. And this is only within a 5-year period of time. So the price is just, because of inflation, that go up. Another example I like to use is if you had $10,000 and you took it and you put it in the bank, and then you wait 10 years and they pay you that little teeny tiny percent of interest rate, and then you pull that $10,000 out in 10 years, your buying power is a lot less. It's a lot smaller. But you take that same $10,000 and you put it into a house, the house that you own. Now you got on what we love to call the elevator to wealth, where it's an acquisition of wealth escalator. That acquisition of wealth escalator moves up. Why? Because the government still continues to spend money. Inflation still continues to go. So you take that $10,000 that you have in the house and you pull that out of the house, it holds its value. In fact, that house has increased in value. Brian, you have a really good example of that when you say there's no other asset that you can go out there and buy that's actually going to hold its value. You buy a new camera, you buy a new car, it will lose value.
Yeah, these are really, really good points. I mean, also, if you were to look at this graph right here, you can see that back in 1989, the annual household income and the average medium rental prices were relatively almost the same. And as you see this go up, you're starting to see the disparity in how much more that rental prices have continued to go up year over year over year, and the annual household income hasn't increased by that much. There's a huge gap between the average rental price and the annual household income. So what that creates is this vacuum for individuals that choose to continue to rent instead of getting ready to buy. They start getting into situations where it becomes too costly and too expensive for them to live, and then they are required to move and go into other areas. You also brought up another important point there where people a lot of times are not understanding the difference between inflationary measures in your house versus the interest rates. These are two counterbalancing effects that they have on each other. When the interest rates drop, then the price of the commodity goes up and it becomes more expensive. And so when you wait for rates to come down, the house commodity goes up, the payments can relatively be the same. In a lot of cases, I've had that where customers will come back when the rates have reduced, but yet the house payment is higher. It's because the commodity has gone up. You know, houses hyperinflate 5% for every 1% the interest rates drop. So the difference is it puts that in your pocket versus the seller's pocket in the event of a resale. These are all really, really good points, and this is where the Fed is trying to balance inflationary measures, jobs reports, and also trying to balance interest rates, because when you drop interest rates, you infuse liquidity and demand, and commodities start to go up and inflation starts to go up. So this is a very fine balance. But I like all the key points that you're saying, Larissa. I think this is very important for buyers out there to understand and get to know you and at least reach out to you. And so you can help educate them on the reasons why they should buy now versus rent.
Right. And to simplify it, if you can get pre-qualified, you ask yourself the question, when should I buy a house? Well, the answer's simple. As soon as you're pre-qualified. So you get on that plan to get yourself so that you can get pre-qualified, because that wealth of acquisition escalator is continually moving up and you're chasing it on a pair of stairs. You're not going to move as fast. So to simplify the desire, why should I buy now versus waiting until the interest rates drop? Because when the interest rates drop, the housing prices go up. But if you can get into a house, then your mortgage is set and your rent will go up and up and up and up and up and up over the years, but your mortgage is set. And you don't have to worry about that. Then you can start chunking it down. Then you can look at getting some investment properties where, now you're the landlord and you're earning the interest because you have people who are buying homes from you. So that's one of the things that I love working with Brian on, is once you get into your home, people don't realize how easy it is to actually set aside money so that they can buy an investment property. And now you've got money coming in once a month and it's helping you build your portfolio of your retirement fund so that someday you can have the same enjoyment that you'd like to have and not have that treadmill that you're running on constantly like a little gerbil trying to get ahead of it. This gives you the chance to actually win in that.
Yeah, it's very interesting that you bring that up. They did a study of 10,000 millionaires throughout the country, and they realized that they all had some things in common. They all owned. About north of 85% of them all owned, and they got that fixed expense there, and then they slowly paid their house off in time instead of being impacted by rental prices increasing. So very, very, very good points, Larissa. Well, Larissa, thank you so much for meeting with us today. If you could please share your information for anybody out there looking to get in contact, that would be great.
Absolutely. I'm with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and they can call me at the number below.
And again, Brian Reeve, branch manager of Neighborhood Loans here in Chandler, Arizona, and my contact information is also listed below. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day.